Right now, in 2026, there is one collector in this nation that can reach directly into your bank account and withdraw your money without ever filing a lawsuit against you, without stepping into a courtroom, and without a single judge approving it. It is the Internal Revenue Service. Most individuals believe that before anyone can access the money in your account, they first must take you to court and prevail. And for nearly every creditor in this country, that is precisely correct. But the tax agency is the one major exception, and that is what makes it so alarming. Welcome back to US Updates Hub, and Timothy is genuinely glad you are here today, because what he is about to guide you through could safeguard the money you depend on most. Here is what they will never sit you down and clarify. There are strict boundaries on what they are permitted to take. There is a 30-day window that can halt them completely. And your Social Security is far more shielded than you realize. So remain with Timothy to the conclusion, because by the time we are finished, you will know precisely how this operates and precisely how to keep your money secure. Let Timothy begin with what this power actually is, because comprehending it is the first step to not being intimidated by it. When you owe back taxes and the matter goes unresolved for a sufficient period, the Internal Revenue Service can issue what is called a levy. A bank levy means they direct your bank to freeze the money in your account and transmit it to the government to pay down what you owe. Unlike a credit card company or a hospital or a collection agency, all of whom must sue you in court first, the tax agency possesses the legal authority to do this independently. That is what makes it distinct, and that is why it frightens people. But Timothy wants you to hear this clearly because it is the most critical thing in this entire video. This does not occur out of nowhere. It does not occur by surprise. The law requires them to notify you first, and that notification is your protection. Here is how the timeline genuinely operates, and the timeline is everything. Before the tax agency can touch a single dollar in your account, they are required by law to send you a specific letter. It is called a final notice of intent to levy, and it additionally informs you about your right to a hearing. From the day they dispatch that final notice, they must wait at least 30 days before they can take any money. 30 days. That window exists for one purpose, to provide you the opportunity to act, and the individuals who lose their money are almost always the individuals who let that window close without doing anything. During those 30 days, you possess the right to request a formal hearing, and the moment you request it, the law prohibits them from proceeding with the levy until your hearing is resolved. In plain terms, requesting that hearing activates the pause button on the entire process. That single step, a written request made inside the 30-day window, is one of the most powerful protections you possess, and almost nobody utilizes it. Now let Timothy explain what occurs even if a levy does go through, because there is a second safety net most individuals have no idea exists. When the tax agency does transmit a levy to your bank, the bank does not surrender the money that same day. By law, the bank must retain the frozen funds for 21 days before sending anything to the government. That 21-day hold is intentional. It is a final opportunity for you to rectify the situation, to demonstrate the money should not be taken, or to establish an arrangement that releases the hold. So between the 30-day notice and the 21-day bank hold, you actually possess a great deal more time and a great deal more control than the fear would ever lead you to believe. So what are your options during that period, when you owe but you cannot simply write a check for the full amount? You have several, and they all halt the bleeding. You can establish a payment plan where you agree to pay the debt over time in monthly amounts you can actually afford, and once that plan is in place, the levy threat dissolves. If the debt is substantial and there is a genuine case that you will never be able to pay all of it, there is a process where the government agrees to settle for less than the full amount. And here is the one that matters most for seniors living on a fixed income. If your income and your resources are low enough that paying the tax debt would leave you unable to cover your basic living expenses, you can be placed in a status that the agency calls not collectible. When you are in that status, they cease all collection activity. No levy, no seizure, nothing, for as long as your situation remains that tight. Many retirees living mostly on Social Security qualify for exactly this protection, and never realized to request it. And that brings Timothy to the part he most wants you to hear because it is the part that lets you breathe. People imagine the tax agency emptying their entire Social Security check, leaving them with nothing to survive on. That is not what the law permits. Your Social Security retirement and survivor's benefits cannot be drained completely to pay a tax debt. The most they are permitted to take through their main program for this is 15% of your monthly benefit. Not all of it, 15%. So even in the worst case, 85% of that check is still yours and still arrives. And it gets better from there. If your only income is supplemental security income, the needs-based payment for individuals with very little, that money is completely off limits. The tax agency cannot take a single dollar of it. And if you are a veteran receiving benefits from the Department of Veterans Affairs, those benefits are shielded as well. The agency cannot levy your veteran's disability or your veteran's pension to collect a tax debt. So the very income that a senior depends on most to survive is the income the law protects the hardest. Let Timothy make this real for a moment, because the difference between the two paths could not be more stark. Picture two individuals who owe the very same back taxes and who receive the very same final notice on the very same day. The first one opens the envelope, sees the words about the levy and the right to a hearing, and within those 30 days simply picks up the phone. They either establish a small monthly payment they can actually manage, or they explain that they live mostly on Social Security and cannot pay right now. For that individual, the levy never occurs. The account is never frozen, the monthly check keeps arriving on time, and the whole matter quietly transitions onto a path they can handle. The second individual feels the exact same fear, but instead of opening the letter, they slide it into a drawer and attempt not to think about it. The 30 days pass. The levy goes through. The account is frozen, the money is withdrawn, and only then, in a panic, do they finally reach for the phone. Same debt, same letter, same income. The only thing that separated keeping their money from losing it was whether they opened the envelope and acted while the window was still open. Now, let Timothy name the one mistake that transforms all of this protection into a disaster, because it is the same mistake every single time. It is ignoring the letters. The levy, the frozen account, the money withdrawn, none of that occurs to the individual who opens the mail and responds. It occurs to the individual who sees an envelope from the tax agency, feels a wave of dread, and places it in a drawer unopened because they cannot bear to look. Every protection Timothy just described, the 30-day window, the right to a hearing, the payment plans, the not collectible status, every one of them depends on you acting inside the deadlines. And you cannot act on a deadline you never read. So if a letter from the Internal Revenue Service ever arrives, the bravest and the wisest thing you can do is the same thing. Open it that day, find the deadline, and respond before it passes. So here is precisely what to do if this is you or if it ever becomes you. Do not panic and do not hide from it. Open every notice the day it comes and look for the date. If you see the words final notice of intent to levy, understand that your 30-day clock has started and you need to act now, not next month. You do not have to face the tax agency alone. You can call them directly to establish a payment plan, and for anything complicated, you can bring in a tax professional, an enrolled agent, or a low-income taxpayer clinic, many of which assist seniors for free. Tell them about your income, especially if you are living mainly on Social Security, because that is the fact that often unlocks the not collectible protection. The tax agency is far more willing to work with an individual who responds than to pursue one who disappears. Your power here is not in fighting, it is in answering. Let Timothy bring this all together because the thread is the same one that runs through so much of what we discuss on US Updates Hub. Yes, the tax agency holds a power that no ordinary creditor possesses, the power to reach your account without a courtroom. But that power is enclosed on every side by rules that exist to protect you. They have to notify you first. They have to provide you 30 days. The bank has to wait 21 more. Your Social Security is mostly shielded, your supplemental security income entirely so, and your veterans benefits completely. The system is not constructed to leave a retiree with nothing. It is constructed to collect from the individuals who never respond and to leave alone the individuals who stand up. Open the letter and request the assistance that is already there. So do one kind thing before you leave US Updates Hub today. Think of someone you love who would rather hide a scary envelope in a drawer than open it. Someone who carries a quiet worry about money they may owe and has no idea how many protections already stand between them and disaster. A brother, a sister, an old friend, a neighbor living alone on a fixed income. Send them this video today. It costs you 2 minutes and it could replace months of silent fear with the simple knowledge that they have rights, they have time, and most of their money is already protected. There are few things you can hand another person that lift a weight like that. So go on and help someone you care about feel secure in their own bank account again. Timothy will see you in the next one right here on US Updates Hub.